over 600,000 people go missing in the United States each year. Tens of thousands remain mysteriously missing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mysteriously Missing. I'm Justine.
Welcome back. I'm Karen.
Today's episode, we're talking about Gerald Robert Talifero. His nickname is Storm, and we're also talking about his son Adagio Talifero, and his nickname is Dodge, and they have both been missing since June 7th of 2018. And we will be using Storm and Gerald's name interchangeably, as well as Adagio and Dodge, as they are referred in different articles by either name.
This episode attempts to retrace their activities from Camptonville, California, to Santa Barbara, Ojai, and then to their last possible location in Goleta Beach, California, which is 10 miles west of Santa Barbara.
Now, Gerald or Storm and his son Adagio or Dodge allegedly had set sail from Goleta Beach on June 7th. There was a possible planned stop in San Diego, California, but they were planning to sail to Hawaii, which should have taken anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks, and the pair apparently never arrived in Hawaii.
So one location we're talking about is Goleta Beach, California, and this is in Santa Barbara County. It is open for boat launches on Saturday, Sunday, and holidays, and a ranger will pull the boat out onto the pier and launch it and retrieve the vessel for you. Goleta Beach is basically a day anchorage off a public pier where there are no services.
Storm and Dodge are possibly on board a 30-foot sailboat, although no information is available regarding the boat's owner, the name of the vessel, or the CF registration numbers.
And this is kind of confusing why no one has come forward with this information on the boat after, a year and a half has gone by.
Well, you think someone must own the boat, obviously.
And someone must have heard this news article about a father and son missing.
Right.
So why hasn't someone stepped forward?
Investigators think the boat the two were sailing on is believed either to be a friend's boat or a boat Storm was contracted to sail on behalf of an owner. Those who were close to Gerald speculated that the boat originated from either Washington State or California's Bay Area, and this was said by Kelly Hoover, who's the spokeswoman for the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office.
So Gerald, or Storm, was born on January 7th, 1950. He was 68 years old when he went missing, and he would be 69 today. His height is 6 foot to 6'1", and his weight is about 175, 180 pounds. He's an African-American male, black hair, brown eyes, and he may shave his facial hair. In 2014, he had a bio on the back of a children's book he wrote called The Problem with Unicorns, and it stated, Storm Talifero lives in a cabin in the high mountain desert with his family. He is award-winning illustrator of the acclaimed children's book, The Bridge Dancers. He is an avid sailor and adventurer, fine artist, and musician.
If he's an avid sailor, how are they lost at sea?
Well, the sea is very volatile.
I do get that,
and
yeah.
Yet it offers me a little peace to know that he just didn't go on another adventure and not really know what he was doing. So
True, yeah.
He claims to be an avid sailor, so let's hopefully for the family's sake that is true.
That is pretty interesting, though. He's writing, it looks like at least 2 books so far.
Yeah, and he's getting into a lot of ventures, we'll find out, to try and get ahead in this world.
Now, Adagio or Dodge, his date of birth was May 1st, 2004, and he was 14 years old when he went missing, and he would be 15 today. He's about 5'4" to 5'7", and weighs anywhere from 100 pounds to 120 pounds. And Dodge is biracial. He's African-American and Caucasian. He has brown hair, brown eyes, and he may shave his head, and one of his front teeth protrudes. So you can definitely tell by looking at his smile.
Yeah, he's a nice-looking young man. So the family is Adagio's mother, which is Gingy Garrick. She lives in Canada for her son, Joe May. Gingy is a writer, blogger, musician, and entrepreneur who raised her 5 home-birth children on a raw vegan diet. She shares her experiences via the Daily Raw Inspiration, and it's a newsletter, and her online guided raw food programs, the 21-day raw cleanse and the 28-day raw experience.
Now, Gingy is the face on a website, The Garden Diet, where she talks about raising a raw vegan family and sells books and videos, some featuring her 5 children. The site sells a downloadable guide on a diet that prevents and reverses aging. Gingy and Storm's children are Raven, Jomay. Per KCOY 12, he lived in Santa Barbara at the time of his father and little brother's disappearance. And then there's also Shale, who would now be 18, Yarrow, who would now be 11, and then, of course, Daj, who is missing with his father.
So more on the family business. The names Storm and Gingy were big in the raw vegan world. The raw vegan movement believes that any food heated above 118 degrees loses much of its nutritional value, and its followers avoid all animal products. Apparently, Storm has led raw vegan retreats that he said are hugely popular.
3 of their children, Shale, Daj, and Yarrow, had never eaten cooked food, as a post in 2013 had said. Storm has been 100% raw for over 45 years. That's pretty crazy.
That's a long time to go raw. Now let's get into the family business history leading up to the disappearance of Storm and Daj. One of the projects they got involved in was 2005. They put a documentary film for sale on Amazon called Breakthrough. It is a documentary film about a raw vegan's family that they all made together.
Now, in 2008, Gerald or Storm and Joanna or Gingy announced that they were selling homes in Raw Vegan Village, which is a community they were building in Upper Ojai Valley. This is 30 miles outside of Santa Barbara in mountains bordering the Los Padres National Forest. Through their Garden Diet website and in the 20,000 person mailing list, many started hearing about this proposed village. Per Storm, it was Gingy's idea. She wanted a community for our kids because when you are raw vegans, you are ostracized and your kids are ostracized from other kids.
The homes for sale were to be state-of-the-art luxury green homes on nearly 120 acres. They stated that here was an opportunity to live in a community of like-minded people. Records show the Topa Topa Institute, of which Julie Pitcher is the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, signed a more than $2.1 million deed of trust for that land in Ojai in 2008. She is also the owner of the Garden Diet, which Gingy and Gerald are active participants in. Gingy now, not Storm so much. And Julie lived with the Taliferos and has 2 daughters by Storm, so she's a relative.
The person who sold the land to Topa Topa Institute, LLC, or Julie, tried to subdivide it into 4 lots in 2007, but was denied permission by the county. 11 neighbors filed letters opposing the project, saying that more people on the Sisar Road would ruin the rural environment of the private 1-lane road community.
So already this project getting started is kind of hitting a lot of snags.
Right.
Somebody tried to develop it earlier with only 4 lots on it, and it still wasn't going to go, let alone, that many homes. The website said there was a space for 20 families who would live and work together but have their own 2,000 square foot home. The members of the village could work in the spa and in the Talifero's publishing company. They could also work in the green building firm or help start a water company from the property stream. Profits from these ventures would help pay for the remainder of the mortgages on the homes and land. Other similar villages would be built around the globe, and those profits would be shared by the initial investors.
It does sound like a cool idea, though. I mean,
it's an interesting plan, and if you're in the vegan world, it's a beautiful area up there in Ojai. I just go back to the fact that, building 20 homes on a land where 4 lots were denied earlier the year before is kind of setting themselves up.
It's going to be a little tricky, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, it is reported they did spend around $400,000 on attempts to get the project off the ground. Neither Storm nor Gingy, neither of their names had appeared on any of the legal documents associated with the projects, as we had stated. Although they are the face of the village, Julie Pitcher appears to be the sole owner and president of the various companies.
So another little bug in this project is that in 2008, the financial crisis led to the Great Recession, which certainly hurt the project.
And by 2010, at least 27 individuals, couples, and families had made an average of a $30,000 down payment to the Taliferos. The Taliferos also sold shares in the planned spa. Contracts show that those who bought homes were told the village would be completed by summer of 2011 at the latest.
So massive funding shortages, lack of building permits, misrepresented business claims, and no regulatory oversight to protect investors were some of the many challenges. Storm said his intentions are good, but he had gotten in over his head as business is not his strong point.
Now, Storm stated their film and web shows could still bring in the needed financing to complete the village. Storm said the star of his movie about Black Americans' diet, Lonnie Jordan, from the 1970s funk band War, will help it make millions. From my heart, people who invested in this project, they trusted me and a lot did it with the handshake and pure faith, he said. My whole thing has been not to lose their money.
You know, he had big dreams, they both did, but ultimately the project failed, and as he said, he didn't have a good business sense, so they probably very creative people, but a lot of times if you don't have that business background, things aren't going to.
Well, and you're almost creating like an entire village from the ground up.
It's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. Plus, with people giving you thousands of dollars,
You had to put that in a
it
trust
can get tricky,
and take
yeah.
care of it properly. Well, in 2013, Adagio's mother, Gingy, did divorce Storm.
And by 2014, the book that Storm wrote, which was The Problem with Unicorns, was for sale on Amazon.
So they are he's still trying to make money.
Yeah.
In December of 2015, from the Garden Diet Facebook page, Gingy writes, and this is 2.5 years before they went missing, "It was nice to have all my 5 children home for Christmas. Raven is traveling with the emergency circus. Joe May is with family in Utah working and finishing high school. Shale's with family in Ojai going to school there. Adagio is with Storm in Northern California, and Yarrow is the only one home with me except for Shale on weekends and holidays. They are all doing fine, and I'm grateful to get to enjoy each one of them as a person." So it sounds like the family's still strong and they're doing well.
Yeah. Now, getting into this timeline, it's June 2nd of 2018, and it's a Saturday. Officials say the father and son were travelers with no single place they called home. Most recently, Storm and Dodge were known to be staying on a friend's farm in Camptonville, California, which is a small town in Yuba County, located about 65 miles northeast of Sacramento, or 36 miles northeast of Marysville off of Highway 49 between Downeyville and Nevada City. And the elevation here is about 2,800, and then the population only had about 158 people according to the 2010 census.
Very tiny little place they were living. Sounds like they were retreating kind of into the wilderness. The farm where they lived in Camptonville is where Dodge was homeschooled. They left the farm on June 2nd, and this is the last time anyone saw Dodge. So 5 days before their official disappearance date, no one has seen Dodge.
That's a little interesting.
Yeah, in the following days, Gerald visited friends in Arizona, Santa Barbara, and Ojai, California, and left some of his belongings with these people. Now, if you look at Google Map, it is Camptonville to Santa Barbara is about 470 miles. And then to Ojai, another 20 miles. But to the Arizona border, it's about 750 miles. So he did, Storm, we don't know where Dodge was, did lots of traveling in those 5 days before he, they supposedly got on the boat.
Now, he said he and Adagio were going to sail a friend's 30-foot sailboat to Hawaii. When he was asked where Adagio was, Storm said he was on the boat with friends. It was unusual of Adagio not to accompany his father everywhere, as they were very close.
You know, it comes to my mind, has anyone interviewed the people from the farm about what Storm's plans were?
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, we haven't had any information on that. So.
Right. Now, here's an audio clip of Gingy, which is Daja's mom, stating that Storm usually did not leave Adagio with other people.
People thought it was odd because he always kept Adagio very close, and they thought it was odd that he would leave Adagio on the boat with people who, weren't even close enough to be known to the friends and family.
It is believed the father and son were sailing either in a friend's boat or in a boat Storm was contracted to sail, as we said, on behalf of the owner. Those close to Storm speculate the boat originated from either the Bay Area or Washington State. And here is Gingy again about that sailing expedition.
I was told they might go sailing. That was all I was told. Other family members were told that they were sailing to Hawaii.
Now, per KCOY 12, the older son, Joe May, lives in Santa Barbara and says he saw his father in June of 2018 when he bought a kayak he used to paddle to his boat off of Goleta Beach. Family members and friends were told by Storm that they met owners of a boat from Washington and together they were going to sail 200 miles out to sea. If no one got seasick, then they were going to go on to Hawaii. But if anyone did get sick, they'd make a stop in San Diego to drop them off and continue their trip.
So who are these people from Washington, and did they have their own boat and sailing on their own vessel, or were they going to join them?
Yeah, it's a little sketchy to travel with someone out to sea that you aren't familiar with. Or...
It sounded like they weren't because they didn't even know about seasickness.
Right.
You'd think they'd know if someone was going to get seasick if they had already traveled together. Kelly Hoover, the sheriff's spokeswoman, said the sailing trip to Hawaii was only meant to last a few weeks and was meant to be one way since the pair had airline tickets to return to California at the beginning of September.
And this is per a comment from July of 2019, which we got off of Ed Hat reader thread. Someone had stated, "I didn't know the father and son had disappeared. I spoke with him when they were anchored off of Goleta Beach, and he mentioned they were doing that, which was sailing to Hawaii. I've spent a fair amount of time on the water and did not have a good feeling about that journey based on the appearance of the boat and it being a father and young boy. So this is really a shame."
I hope that person has come forward to the sheriff's office and, made that statement to them to identify at least the boat. So now we're at June 7th, 2018, 5 days after they left the farm in Camptonville. Storm allegedly set sail from Goleta Beach. The trip to Hawaii should have taken 3 to 6 weeks. Gerald's ex-wife and his family became concerned when they didn't hear from him or Adagio within 5 weeks and contacted the Coast Guard. But the Coast Guard had no information about the boat, so there was little that they could do.
So now September 1st of 2018, they were supposed to fly back to San Diego on the tickets that they had already purchased, but never got on that flight.
Then on September 28th, they did create a NamUs case for Gerald and Adagio. Adagio's mother believes her son may be alive and that Gerald or Storm may have taken him and disappeared voluntarily.
Now January 14th of 2019, the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office, in cooperation with the U.S. Coast Guard and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, requested the public's assistance in locating them.
So now they're wanting the public to really help out and see what is going on.
Right.
January 15th, Adagio was profiled on A&E's Live PD as a missing child alert. Gingy was interviewed on the show. She says Storm was a serial entrepreneur with several projects. She theorizes it is possible perhaps a potential investor unhappy with having to wait on a project or feeling they were owed money by him could be a potential angle to the disappearance. Adagio was described by his mom on the show as being very friendly and making everyone he meets his best friend.
I did want to add, having so many people give you thousands of dollars, that could turn negative really quick.
Exactly. People get very angry when they invest money
Right.
and it falls apart. And there's got to be a level of anxiety on Storm's part.
To pay everyone back or, kind of make it
Yes.
right with everyone. So now it's April of 2019, and this is a comment from Find Adagio's Facebook page. A friend traveling on the island of Oahu in Hawaii thought she saw Adagio sitting on a wall by a beach. She gave Gingy screenshots of the video that she had taken of this boy. It turns out it was not Daj, but Gingy says it led them to investigate. There, Snow, which is Gingy's stepson, met numerous people who had seen Storm and Adagio in the area back in November. So they now believe they are alive and traveling. She states that it's still a mystery why they are out of touch with everyone, but we have breadcrumbs to follow. Thank you to Snow for going to look for him and doing all this amazing detective work and talking to so many people all over Oahu.
You know, that gives me hope that maybe, it sounds like they had several sightings in November on Hawaii. They made it there. They're safe, and they're just kind of under the radar right now. Would be nice for the family and the community to have them come forward and say, we're okay.
Exactly. I mean, it's obvious, well, according to a couple people that have seen them, that they actually made it to Hawaii, which is good news.
Very good
But
news.
it's just weird that they're not letting the family know.
Yeah, that's strange. The mom especially.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, then on April 28th, 2019 of this year, from a link on the Garden Diet Facebook page, hi everyone, Gingy here. As you've probably noticed, I've been less present in the raw movement for some time now. I wanted to let you all know that for the past year I've been dealing with cancer. I have been asked to write a book about my raw vegan life, the cancer that developed why I was raw, and how I am dealing with both.
This comment that she posted on Facebook, not only trying to find your husband or ex-husband now and your kid, now you're dealing with cancer.
Yes.
Now, there was something that she had asked. I guess a lot of people follow this Facebook page, and she wanted to write this book, but she wasn't sure if she should. So she wanted to make sure people were actually interested in it. So she wrote, knowing if there is interest in this book will help me decide whether I should continue writing it. I feel like I owe it to the raw movement to share my experience and thoughts honestly, as I always have. So if you're interested in knowing when the book is completed, enter your email address via the form below, and I will send you an announcement when it's ready. I may also send out updates when I'm working on it. Thank you, yours, Gingy.
It'd be an interesting book to see what her take is on where she is in her
whole
life.
journey, yeah.
Now, there was a Facebook page for Gerald Talifero, and it is inactive, but the one that you could go look up is Find Adagio, and that Facebook page has 540 followers. And she states, this is not a business. This is a site dedicated to finding my son.
And if you have any information on this case, you can always contact the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. They are the primary law enforcement agency for the investigation due to Gerald's last known location. So please call the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office at 805-681-4100.
And if you have any comments, you can contact us at mysteriously-missing411@gmail.com.
You can always follow us on Instagram and YouTube, download our episodes on iTunes and Podbean. Everything is under Mysteriously Missing. But just share this case. There's obviously been sightings of them, so hopefully they're just traveling and out there, and
I hope.
Right, and I'm sure this mom just wants kind of that closure, knowing that her son's okay. So just share this case. If you guys have any comments, just email us, and we hope this family's found.
Yes, we do. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.